Good afternoon, one and all. I'm again here with an interesting topic that is barriers of effective communication. So, when compared to all the skills, communication skill is the most essential part in our life today. Even though we are learning a second language, especially English language, from our childhood days, from our KG years and all, but we are not able to form at least a single meaningful sentence even now. Why? What is the reason for that lacking? We are not able to concentrate on that. We are not able to learn that second language as we are learning our mother tongue. Why? What is the reason behind it? We have so many barriers, maybe educational barriers or family background or so many things, right? And I'm here to list out all those barriers which will hinder you, which will interfere you, which will reject you, which will deny us to learn a communication skill, proper communication skill. What are the barriers? Okay, what are the obstacles? That is what I'm going to list out now. Okay, the first thing is lack of objectives. If you want to learn a language, we should have that aim. Okay, for this purpose we are learning, so we are in need of this language, we are in need of that particular learning, so we should be familiar, we should be aware of that objective first. We are lacking that. And then again, the second one is lack of qualified teachers. Even though many of them are struggling a lot to make their students to learn, very few of the teachers are simply wasting their time, right, without giving a meaningful learning to the students. And the next one is, I can say, that overcrowded classroom. Yes, of course, the overcrowded classrooms also has become a barriers now, as one of the barriers, because if the classroom is simply committed with simply filled with overcrowd, how this teacher can concentrate on each and every student? How can they give individual preference to all the students? So overcrowded classroom is also one of the barriers. And the next one is that lack of audio visual aids. So in order to learn something, if you want to teach something, how will you teach? A simple lecture method, it won't work. Okay, and especially for school students, surely it won't work. If you want to sow some seeds on their mind, you have to use some teaching aid which may attract their attention, which may gain their attention. Then only it can easily reach. So in order to teach a particular language, usage of that audio visual aids, you have to utilize those sources in order to teach them. So lack of those sources also has become the barriers nowadays. And now, lack of the next one is a lack of workbook. If you're teaching them, they have to practice, right? You have to give them enough time to get practice, you have to give them enough worksheets to have their practice, right? Those lack of workbook also is one of the barriers. And now the next one is that parents interference. Some of the students are encouraging their students, encouraging their kids, motivating them, okay, but some of the parents are simply, they were also not aware of this language, the demand of this particular language, so they are simply demotivating the students, they are not motivating their kids. So that is also a barrier. And the next one is variation in syllabus. For example, in learning a Tamil language, you might have observed Madras Tamil is completely different from Madurai Tamil, Tirunelveli Tamil, Coimbatore Tamil. So each and every place has its own slang, right? In the same way, this particular language, that is this foreign language, our English language is also, it will be varied upon based on its region, right? So lack of fluency, that lack of that awareness also, it's also a barrier, right? And the last one is unsuitable textbooks. Yes, of course, that this is the major problem. The textbooks which has been provided to the students to inculcate, to insist the learning of this particular language, is completely unsuitable for them. So all these things are the barriers of effective communication. So in order to enrich, if you want to enrich your communication skill, you have to break all these lackages, all these barriers, and you have to fight with all these obstacles. Then only you can enrich your communication skill, right? So thank you so much for listening. Please, please, please kindly break all these obstacles and try to learn this language. Thank you so much for listening.